And I do not find anything wrong or awkward or weird about his remarks. Really. It was a caution. And it's a caution that we all know these things exist. We know because in our system, pastors, chiefs, community leaders, and people, influential people from all walks of life, usually try to intervene in such cases. But even at the local level, when people are arrested, in fact, this weekend I was dealing with a case where some young people committed an offense and were arrested, and the families organized Sunday dawn. They were in my house, coming to plead with me as MP, to plead with the police so that they will be granted bail and all of that. So we all know that in our system, where influence, so chiefs, pastors, religious leaders, and across board, these things where they plead for people, even when people are arrested, we all know that even when people are arrested, don't you listen to or don't we know of, they're very big, they're very influential, and they don't necessarily have to be politicians.
Yeah, mostly.
They don't necessarily, mostly they are not even the politicians. So the General Secretary is only encouraging the AG. And Moro, I know Dr. Ayine, among all of us, even in Parliament, those who have worked closely with him, everybody attests to the fact that the gentleman is not one of the people that you can push around. If he says he will prosecute you, if he has a case, he will. And one of the reasons why I recall, and I have to say this on air, that about 3 months ago, we met in Parliament, and I asked Dr. Ayine that, Doc, it appears people are thinking that oral is being slow. And he gave me a response that I consider very profound. And I will say it on him. He said, bro, I don't want to rush and go to court and lose cases. That will be damaging to oral more than a delay. And I am preparing, these were his words, watertight cases such that by the time we get to court,
you can win.
It's because in a criminal, when it comes to criminal cases, it is basic that you must prove beyond reasonable doubt. So he said, look, I am preparing watertight dockets on all the cases. And so by the time we start the prosecutions, we will not go. And we know in this country in the past, there have been several instances where government takes similar cases of corruption, even when very gargantuan amounts were involved. But on technical basis and some frivolous basis, government lost those cases. And those individuals were set free. And he said he is preparing watertight evidence such that when he goes to court, everybody will be convinced that it's not it is neither witch hunting nor just an attempt to satisfy. And so he was working on them. Everybody knows that Dr. Ayine is not somebody that those pleas from either chiefs and big people in government, ministers and co could get to. The General Secretary knows that, so he was only encouraging him to be firm, to continue being resolute. So I don't see this as an expose, because we all know, you see, sometimes, bro, we behave as though it is the first time we are hearing that people try to interfere or intervene when others are being prosecuted. So the General Secretary, like I said, as the Chief Executive Officer of the party, was only admonishing his appointees, was admonishing the lawyers that, look, let us not forget that Ghanaians voted for us because they wanted us to do things right. So those individuals who all of a sudden are trying to cut deals, so he was admonishing us to stay resolute.